So one of my design goals was to allow simple graphics for kids, like we had with the Apple II HDR. H color equals 12. Then we did HLIN 100. So as a kid, we did graphics like that. Commodore was more difficult. I wrote my own assembly line draw in 8th grade. Anyway, so I wanted simple. So guess what? I finally the first parameter is the device context. The default will give you something you can use. 100, 100, 100. Okay. If you use the system device context, the device context has I don't even know how I do this. Let's see. GRDC okay, then oops, I'm going back over here, changed it to red. So this it's a shared device context. So what you normally do is make an alias. This, by the way, is the there's a persistent layer, and there's a layer that's refreshed 60 hertz. Believe it or not, it refreshes the whole screen 30 hertz. Now, it refreshes the whole screen 30 hertz. It doesn't keep track of it refreshes everything all the time. It doesn't keep track of what hasn't changed. So it's simpler. The worst case for any graphics is full screen flight simulator. Can you see it doesn't matter that graphics, if you keep track of what hasn't changed, it doesn't matter. So the worst case is full screen, and that's where we do the best, because we refresh everything all the time. Anyway, I simplified it a lot. I'm having a hard time explaining this. Let's get rid of that. DC fill. Okay. F1 demo index. Somebody wanted to see dot of nets. This is what I did as a kid. I did that, provided hours of entertainment. Input pointer. Okay, so you can get the mouse from a global variable if you want. You also can get it from messages. Left button. Okay. Sun and moon. Okay. So that looks like RS. Okay. Well, it's supposed to teach you. So this is a sprite, graphics in source, and we're using the cursor key to move it around. So I wanted to get people making video games right away. So you make a sprite. Control R is the graphics resource. Control T. So this is binary item number 1. The binary items are stored after the bottom of the file. After the bottom of there's a 0, and then there's binary data in a file. Anyway, Low pass filter. Yeah. So audio math. I made triangle or sawtooth, some handy functions. I'm proud of those. Lines. Watch this. Oh, it's not going to be very good, is it? Anyway, that's with no delay. Tic-tac-toe. It's beeping. I can't hear the beeps because anyway, tic-tac-toe. So sprite plot. This puts it on the command line. We put sprites on the command line, graphics on the command line. So it's not serialized. ASCII organ. We put an icon on the command line that we can click. Oh, this is getting boring. Message loop. F5. So I can hit keys. Move the mouse cursor. So there's my message system is unique. Windows has lots of messages. We only have a fixed number. These are the messages, no more. And you specify them with a bit mask, 64-bit. We could add more. This is study the demos. Don't come with preconceived conceptions. So you make bit masks with the to say which are allowed and which, if it's not allowed, it gets purged. If it's not one of the ones it's looking for, it gets purged. So it does have parameter 1 and parameter 2, kind of like W param and long param, except not, they're both 64-bit. Doodle. So this is what it takes to doodle. Check out how, is that awesome? Look how compact it is. That's why I'm the boss. You can do a good speed line. So in theory you can move faster and make it nobody can control it in practice. So my pen has a maximum size in my, oh hey, how about I start assigning things for get the world to help perfect God's temple. So you guys wanted to do rotations of text. My thought was, no, that's just stupid. We don't. It's not stupid, but here's the deal. We have currently there are 81,000 lines of code. We need to add, I don't know, 5,000 worth of documentation, and then I set a limit of 100,000. So we have to choose. We might be able to get networking with FTP or something. I think I ruled it out. I don't know. That was one of my. So here's what I want. I want you to ask yourself, do I really want to add this line of code? Because I pay a price. I can't put something else in. I want every line of code to be it's an exchange, one line for another. So anyway, so I wouldn't mind. I'd give control of it to somebody else as long as you follow the rules. If I set a limit of 100,000 lines of code, what could possibly go wrong? There is no way you can fuck it up. Maybe you decide to eliminate stuff. Anyway, I want to go over the graphic. So the window manager calls this 30 times a second, and it updates the windows. This is where it goes through all the tasks on Core 0. Only Core 0 can have windows that show up. The other cores can't have windows. Each task can have one window. So if you want a pop-up, you need a new task. Anyway, so this goes through all the tasks on Core 0. It's possible the user could corrupt something, so we validate the tasks to make it a little more robust. The user is encouraged to mess around with the system. So this is kind of, if it weren't for the user, then you would never do this professionally. You would just make sure you never get a bad task. But the user can, anyway. So what does it do? There's a routine where it updates the documents. There's a client document and a border document, and you can double buffer. So there's FS is the current task register. GS is the current core. This runs, anyway, this updates the all the task documents, and it also calls a callback for each task, a draw it for graphics. So it updates all those. That's if it's in text mode. Normally it renders the text background, it renders the text foreground, then it updates all the windows. There's a text layer that's not B800, B8. Anyway, then it so it's working with an 8-bit image, but the hardware is only 4-bit. Right here, remember there's a persistent core layer. Well, it puts the persistent layer onto the final layer and draws the mouse cursor. Then it writes to hardware at the bottom. It uses a cache. Only the hardware is slow. The A000, B000, BFFF, that memory is slow, so it uses a cache. Worst case is terrible though. Well, anyway, it's native hardware would be a little faster than VMware, not much. Anyway, hey, what if they sped up the memory? Intel could do it. The A00 memory? Oh, no, I don't know what I'm talking about. Sometimes they do things because of standards. The disk I/O, the in and out instructions, as you know, are fixed time. They're for the old 4 megahertz bus. So I want VMware to work with faster. If Intel could get that done, if you could go ahead and do that for me. Anyway.